Hey, what's up guys? Mr. Ipock here for another follow-up video. This is a follow-up video to lesson 2.1, solving two-step equations. So if you get home, you're confused, you're like, man, what in the world were we doing today in class? You can check out this video and maybe it can help you out as far as getting a better understanding of what's going on or what you need to do in the problem that you're assigned. So I'm going to work a few problems here on the board just for you to see. Obviously go to YouTube, type in Mr. Ipock. If you're watching this, you're already there. So thank you for watching. I hope this can be a help. So this is a follow-up video on today's lesson of which is 2.1, which is solving two-step equations. So I'm going to start off with just the very simple example. I'm going to start off, and it's actually going to be one from the homework assignment today. It's actually number 4, and the problem is 1 minus r is equal to -5. Okay, and students, you know this just because you hear me say it all the time. What is my main objective when trying to solve equations? And it is to do what? Isolate the variable. I simply want to get the variable alone. We like mathematical terms such as isolate, so we want to isolate the variable. The variable in this problem is r, and I want to isolate, or I want to get it by itself. Okay? So in order to do that, I first must clean everything else up in the problem. So I have a 1 minus r. So in this problem, what I need to do is I need to get this r alone, as I've said. So I had to do something with this 1 here. Now, though, what we can do in equations is we need to get this 1 to a 0, or to say we have nothing on this side except for r. So what we need to do is we need to do the inverse operation of what's going on right now with 1. Now 1 is just out here by itself, so it's saying 1 minus r. 1 is a positive number, we know that because it's not negative. So I want to ask myself this: how am I going to get this 1 to 0, so there's 0 on this side? And what I'd have to do is I would have to say, well, I'd have to subtract 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So this is, I would minus 1 right here, and that would give me 0, or I could say I cancel that out. What I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other. So I've subtracted 1 here, now I'm going to subtract 1 here. Okay? Again, my main objective is to get this r right here alone. So now once I've canceled this, now there's nothing on this side because 1 minus 1 is 0, and I don't have to write 0 up there. I come and I complete this. -5 minus 1. Well, since it's -5 and we're subtracting 1, if we're on a number line and I'm subtracting, I'm going to go to the left. So it's actually, the answer here is going to be -6. And I'm going to bring down this negative r. I did not get rid of the negative sign because I simply subtracted 1. The negative sign is still there. So negative r is equal to -6. Now, I must figure out, can I leave this alone? Negative r equals -6? No, I can't have a negative variable. So I need to get rid of the negative sign. Most people know, or some people may know, that there is a number 1 in front of this r. And you may ask, well, how is that possible? Well, if I have 1 marker, I have a marker. Or if I have a marker, I have 1 marker. So if I have r, it's the same as having 1r. So I can put a 1 in front of that. And we usually don't put that because we understand 1r is the same as r. So now once I have this, it's saying this, -1 multiplied by r. So I need to do the inverse operation of multiplication, which is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by -1. Divide this side as well as this side. -1 divided by -1 is 1, so that becomes canceled, and we're left with r equals a negative divided by negative is a positive. 6 divided by 1 is 6. So r equals 6. I always encourage my students to circle their answers, so students, make sure you circle the answers. And if I wanted to check this answer, I can simply substitute the solution that I found for r back into the variable. I can substitute it back into the equation. So I'm going to do that right here. So I'm going to check this. I'm going to check, so I'm going to say 1 minus r equals -5. And I want to substitute 6 into r. So 1 minus 6 is equal to negative 5. Well, if I'm at 1 and I subtract 6, I have 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and negative 5. And that's 6. So negative 5 is equal to negative 5. That checks out. That's the first example that I wanted to show students on this video. It's not the easiest as well as it's not the hardest as well, but it's one of those problems that they can get confused on the negative. So students, that's why I wanted to show you that. Let me erase this and let me show you the next problem. I need to get the Iron Man technology that I can just go boom and it erases, right? So, I also want to work another one. It's found on the back side of this, homework 2-1, and it's question number 2. I've seen that many students were struggling with this problem today on the assignment. So let's work number 2. Number 2 is x over 8 minus 4 is equal to 15 over 16. So, whenever my variable is kind of tied to a fraction, I want to clean up everything to the right and to the left of it first. So I want to clean up this 4 first. So I need to do the inverse operation of subtraction, which is addition. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Again, my main objective is to isolate the variable. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. Canceling here, I'm left with x over 8 is equal to 15 over 16 plus 4. Well, since this is not an improper fraction, it's a fraction, I can just simply add this whole number to the fraction and write 4 and 15 over 16. 4 and 15 sixteenths. So x over 8 is equal to 15 over 16ths. This is a mixed number. Now I need to get x alone. X is being divided, so I need to do the inverse operation of division, which is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides times 8. Canceling, giving me x is equal to 4 and 15 over 16 times 8. Now this is where students their issue is going to come. Well, Mr. Ipock, I don't understand how I'm going to multiply this. Well, I can convert this mixed number into an improper fraction. So let's go over here to the board and let's try that. Let's try 4 and 15 sixteenths. In order to convert that, I must multiply, add, bring it around. Okay? So let's multiply. 16 times 4. We can do that in our head. 10 times 4 is 40. 6 times 4 is 24. Therefore, that's 64. Then we got to add 15 to that. 64 plus 15. Well, 64 plus 5 would be 69, plus 10 would be 79. So I now have 79 over 16. And that's the number that I have. So I now have this as an improper fraction. So now I can multiply easily times 8. I'm going to step down here. 79 over 16 times 8 over 1. Now this is a very large number, 79 times 8. So I'm going to work it over here real quick. So 79 times 8, because I have fractions now, so I can multiply numerators and denominators. 79 times 8. 9 times 8 is 72. 8 times 7 is 56. 56 plus 7. So 56 plus 7 would be 63. So my numerator would be 632 divided by 16. So the numbers in this problem is what's probably going to throw students off. Now, this is an improper fraction. And we could leave it as an improper fraction, but I would like students to just see if we can simplify it just a little bit. Okay? So let's simplify this down. So we're going to say 632 divided by 16. Well, 16 will go into 63 how many times? 16 will go into 63. So we can just do them, we can almost do the math. 16 times 4, which we found out that while ago, was 16 times 4 right here. We found out that was 64. So it won't go 4 times, so it must go 3 times. So it's going to go 3 times. 16 times 3. We can do it in our head. 10 times 3 is 30. 6 times 3 is 18. So that's going to be a total of 48. Then we're going to subtract this, 63. So this becomes 13. This becomes 5. 13 minus 8 would be 5. And 5 minus 4 is 15. So will 16 go into 15? It will not, so I need to bring down the 2. I bring down the 2, and I got 152. So now I need to determine how many times will 16 go into 152. Well, this is a guess and check. I'm going to guess a number and see if it's right. Well, I do know that 16 times 10 is 160, so it will not go 10 times. But if I take one off, it will go 9 times. I'm going to come over here and do the work. 16 times 9. Well, 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 5 is 144. So 16 will go into 152 9 times, which will give me 144. Then I look at this and I say, well, what do I have left? This becomes a 4. That becomes 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. 4 minus 4, it will not work. 4 minus 4 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. So now I have 16 into 8. Well, how many times will 16 go into 8? I'm not sure. It will not actually. So what I need to do, I need to add a decimal, and add a 0. And bring that 0 down. Then how many times will 16 go into 80? This is another guess and check opportunity. And I'm just going to guess 5. 16 times 5. 10 times 5 is 50. 6 times 5 is 30. 50 and 30 is 80. So it will go 5 times, and then we are zeroed out. So our answer would be 39 and 1/2. Students, I want you to write as a mixed number and not as a decimal. That concludes this lesson of 2-1, the follow-up video. I hope this video is helpful, and I hope you learned a lot today. Obviously, this is a big problem. So check out this video. Thanks a lot.